We've got a quick
too suited?
tight, I think. No. All right, so I'm wondering if you could just introduce the facility, maybe a bit about its background, and maybe its comparison to the other Pinewood studios.
Sure. Well, this is Pinewood Toronto Studios. We're located in the Portlands in Toronto. It's a 250,000 square foot facility that comprises 7 purpose-built sound stages and 2 effects stages, plus about 50,000 square feet of office space. We've been here since 2009 as Pinewood, and before that it was called Filmport. This was purpose-built to house films that were larger Hollywood-type blockbuster films. The stages are, as I said, purpose-built. The one we're in right now is Mega Stage. That's a 46,000 square foot stage, basically 1 acre of land, free span, 60 feet to the ceiling. So it's a spectacular engineering feat as well as a phenomenal sound stage for use in film and feature film. As part of the Pinewood Group, Toronto was the first of the international initiative. There's 3 major studios set up under Pinewood UK, which is Pinewood, Teddington, and Shepperton. They feature different elements of film and television. We're more oriented, as I said, to feature film production, blockbuster, tentpole type films. There's also Pinewood, Malaysia, Berlin, and most recently the Dominican Republic. And the Dominican Republic is interesting because it's got the world's largest infinite horizon tank. So you can shoot water effects there quite effectively, looking out over the Caribbean. So it's a great group to be part of. We're very proud to be part of it as Pinewood Toronto Studios.
Now you've housed smaller budget films as well. What are the differences in what a smaller film would use these facilities for versus a larger tentpole Hollywood blockbuster?
We have shot several smaller films here, including Mama. Del Toro's Mama was shot here, which is just recently released. Take This Waltz, Cosmopolis were all shot here. The difference isn't so much in the exact stuff you need. It's more along the lines of the scale of the stuff you need. The budgets are smaller, therefore they can't afford to be in as long. They tend to do more location shots, but their requirements are very similar from the perspective of they all need office space to house production staff and to develop the business that becomes the film, as well as sound stages for the occasional set shot. But the main difference would be that they'd prefer to shoot location more regularly than the larger ones that would like big effect stages for the big effect shots.
And do you find it easier to draw those Hollywood productions here as time goes along? I know you do kind of outreach during TIFF and also the Toronto, Ontario Day in LA.
Those kind of things are parties to reinforce relationships that we've already developed. I mean, we're proud to be part of the Pinewood Group, as I said, and that Pinewood Group leverages about 75 years of marketing and sales experience into this market for us. So they have the relationships developed, and we, as a team, use those relationships to build movies here. Those parties and those things reinforce the nature of our relationship and build stronger, future-looking relationships. And also give us a chance to chat and discuss what projects are in the horizon and what the fit is for Toronto as well as our specific studio.
And do you find that, like, as time goes along, there are fluctuations in Toronto as a location? What have you noticed in the kind of your time here as far as when productions are more popular here versus maybe, it seems like there's an ebb and a flow?
There's definitely an ebb and flow in the film industry. It's the nature of the business. There's different times that Toronto would be the best absolute place to shoot, and that has to do, again, with the location itself. Toronto has several fantastic locations that can be used to shoot any given city in the world, basically, but we also have facilities that can house any kind of film and any size of set that needs to be built for any large feature film now as well.
Do you find that you're maybe helping coordinate in attracting a production the locations that they would use outside of the studio, like maybe offering that information? Is that part of what you
How we fit into that is we're one of the locations that they can shoot on, and there's a large database that's there and offered by the OMDC of locations all through Toronto, and Film Ontario helps direct people around. So we work as a group in Toronto, as do other studios, to make sure that the productions we're housing are aware of opportunities to shoot. But they know that pretty well already. Productions that shoot here form teams that are self-assembling teams that can go out and shoot these films, and they're very aware. They scout the area already, and they're very aware of where a lot of locations are as they assemble and budget for Toronto.
What kind of relationship do you have with those other kind of studios that are also attracting productions?
We're competitors, but we're also friends. I mean, we don't all hit the same niche. The old model was more along the lines of converting warehouses to sound stages, or revamping different kinds of buildings that could be used as stages. And here we've purpose-built new stages and new facilities that orient themselves better to the larger films.
And as you've expanded in the last 4 years, have you found that you're moving more towards the niche that you fulfill, or are you expanding in the types of productions you hope to attract?
We're really proud of our ability to draw large films here. We've drawn the 3 largest films ever shot in Toronto here. We've brought Total Recall, Pacific Rim, and they've just finished shooting RoboCop here. We also do a lot of smaller films even with this facility, but we are expanding our offering on this site to include 3 new sound stages of about 11,000 square feet each that will come in at a slightly lower price point and be better suited for smaller feature films and television series and live audience elements like that. I mean, for example, just recently we shot a multicam live action show here, sitcom, which is one of the first in 25 years shot in Toronto. I can't go into the details of that, but I will be able to later.
Yeah. Is there a difference in kind of accommodating film versus live TV or recorded television, or?
There is a difference in the crew that's required. There's a difference in the skill set to some degree that's required for camera crew and elements like that, but the space can be used multi-purpose for any of those type of productions.
Is it attractive to have a more varied roster at any given point, or is it maybe easier to have a bunch of films going at the same time?
From a logistics sense and keeping a stable bottom line or a stable revenue stream, absolutely. It makes sense to have a variety of television series shooting simultaneously with large feature films.
And is the expansion you're talking...
Or smaller feature films, sorry. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt.
Is the expansion you're talking about the byproduct of just success within the organization, or is it part of like the provincial or maybe even federal tax cut that are offered?
Or tax credit,
yeah.
It's not a cut, it's a credit. But it's part of our strategy. And our strategy is to capture a more diverse market to give a more stable baseline to our revenues. And that's exciting to us. I mean, those 3 new stages will allow us more easily to house television series and simultaneously offer large feature shows, or simultaneously offer another television series and a small feature space to operate at the same time. And that will definitely smooth out the bottom line or overlap when they're scheduling. So it's a big benefit to us. We're also expanding into the west with office space that's going to be oriented towards post-production facilities. And the concept there is the overall picture of what we're trying to do here when we develop this way is build a product that can be defined as a cultural hub for film in Toronto, where we have post-production facilities and related businesses operating on the same site as the film studio, in close proximity more and more like the LA studios and more like the UK studios.
Is it possible for Toronto to maybe approach those systems in a way that they're not currently doing? Like,
our mandate here is to mimic the expertise that we're learning from the UK at Pinewood, and bring that here, bring that professionalism, bring that level, that standard of quality to Toronto.
And would you describe the UK as maybe being like a twist on the Hollywood system that's maybe closer to Toronto as far as between
I
those two?
see those two as equivalents.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, very much so. It's exciting. What's shot in the UK is they have a standard, they have a high level of professionalism similar to what's in LA, and our partner happens to be from the UK, but overall our standard is the same, or that's the effort we're trying to implement. We're very close to, we are world class.
And you mentioned there's a green movement, a green initiative that's going on here. Could you describe what is entailed in that?
That was kind of interesting. This was built as a green facility. I don't know if you were aware of that, but this stage, the roof of this stage is an acre of land that captures water to a holding pond, and that water is used to water all the plants on the site. Those plants are all native to Ontario and hardy and oriented to growing well in the soils here. There's the lighting systems in our buildings are oriented towards going out when people leave a room. They're all automated. We've increased the solar resistance of the window, the glass structure around the building in order to reduce the requirement for air conditioning and heating as much as we can. So those kind of initiatives are very much oriented towards green initiatives. There's also Green Screen, which we've been part of since the early days. That is an initiative that focuses on recycling elements and doing things that make this industry in general more green, and our productions adhere to those kind of standards and those protocols.
And what about your relationship with Sheridan and their screen industry research and training, that program?
The CERT program.
Yeah.
It's a little easier to say, right? So CERT we're really happy to be affiliated with colleges, and we do a lot of affiliations with different research groups. But CERT's our primary one. They've been here roughly since late 2009, early 2010. Don't quote me on the exact date, but that relationship has developed over time. It's become a partnership. It's the technologies they're developing. We have a chance to test them here, which include 2D, 3D, and high frame rate capture screenings, as well as motion capture and pre-visualization work for film. Then that not only becomes a place where they can test it and do it as a lab element, they can also use that with productions that are in-house as ways to test and see how things will lay out. And that partnership, they've co-located with us. They have offices in our office building. They have one of our mill shops converted into a stage that they use for the large screening room. And we're happy to have that relationship built around developing technologies here and testing them and demoing them. It's been a strong, good relationship.
Is that something that would integrate with the post-production presence you'd like to have?
Oh, exactly. Yeah, ideally they'll be part of that tenancy in the new office building and have even greater ability to share and develop technologies and test things, and they can come in at the academic level and then the companies can come in at the sales level. It'll make a beautiful partnership. It's very exciting. I mean, it's really cool. I'll show you that later so you can see it.
The screen research thing sounds really great.
Oh, it's totally cool. If you go check it out, they have a huge screen in there. It's a very large screen, and it's actually 3 in a row that can do each of the different elements so they can test it. Different types of projections. They have their own Christie projector, and they've gone a long way. And what we do in that relationship was we participate by giving in-kind donations, so we give them space that they can operate in. And and we also assist them any way we can. It is truly a partnership. The management of that group and myself and my team is very close.
Is that the high frame rate that's the big thing right now? That's what I read
That's
about.
one of the things they're working on right now. They also do motion capture, pre-visualization work. I don't know if you've ever seen the motion capture stuff done, but basically there's an array of cameras set up around the room. The guys have little dots on themselves and they're moving in virtual space. It's just...
Well, there's that vignette in Holy Motors. I don't know if you've seen it, but they basically show in the film the whole motion capture
element
happening. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I guess people are familiar with it from bonus features on DVDs. They've kind of become accustomed to what that is. Yeah. Well, how is it improving, like in a technological sense?
Well, they take that one step forward. So rather than just guessing what the right camera angles are and those kind of things.
Yeah.
They take actual virtual cameras and build them into that story. So then there's 2 points of reference. There's the motion capture guy, then another guy that's actually mimicking a camera, and you can set the lens on it, you can set the camera type, film type, all those elements, and see what it would look like. That's the pre-visualization element. So you can set shots against a fixed background or a virtual background and see how they would look in advance of actually deciding whether you're going to shoot with camera A, B, or C, you know.
And that's for the benefit of the students, I guess, like to develop I'm interested, like how does it benefit specifically Pinewood? It seems like
it benefits Pinewood because it helps us train future crew and future cameramen that can come here and learn about this technology and move forward. And I mean, we want to be part of the community and want to make sure we're doing our part to give back and develop the crews and the elements that bring people to Toronto.
Is it a challenge to kind of maybe not have that talent leave? Like, I guess that must be the biggest
Right now we're drawing.
Yeah.
In the past they have left, but I mean now we're in a position where we're drawing them back, and that's partly due to the large features that we're doing here and the fact that this industry is growing in Ontario. I mean, we did 1.34 billion a couple of years ago, and that's, you know, that says something about how well we're doing.
You practically have Guillermo living here now, I guess.
Almost. Right? It'd be nice. He did like it here. My mama looked good. Did you see it?
No, not yet.
Yeah, looked pretty sharp on the screen. I enjoyed it.
Pacific Rim looks pretty sharp.
The trailer's massive, isn't it? You get the feeling. They had one of the sets was the giant headsets for the robots on the other side. And it was mirrored. We built a wall for them to house them in that space. Phenomenal. Very cool stuff.
Thanks again.
No problem at all.